Hello everyone, welcome to today's session. Myself, Radhika Rathani from Corporate Communication team at IFA Global would like to thank you all for being here on this platform. As you know, the markets have been under pressure and huge volatility has been seen across asset classes, be it equity, bond or currency, post the outbreak of COVID-19. We at IFA Global has prepared an interesting piece of research which will help you to make a decision in this uncertain world. The topic for today's webinar is how FX impacting your business in current times, challenges and opportunities. Now, it gives me immense pleasure to introduce our today's speaker, Mr. Abhishek Govinda, founder and CEO at IFA Global. Under his leadership, IFA Global team has catered to over 1,000 clients and has managed FX cumulative of over 20 billion USD. Mr. Goenka is well known for his views on various business channels and dailies like CNBC, ET Now, Economist, Business Standards, and a chairman of well-known Treasury forum known as Treasury Elite. Now, without any further delay, let's begin the session. I would like to invite Mr. Goenka.
Thank you, Radhika. Very warm welcome to all of you today. Hope all of you are doing extremely fine. All your family members and all your workers, all your colleagues in the factories, I'm sure everybody is safe. And these are very interesting times. I mean, today's discussion can't begin without discussing the crude markets. Yesterday was a big day. I'm sure no one of us has seen that ever in the history. Uncertain times, as we normally say, markets can remain irrational, then you are solvent. And that was one day that we saw yesterday. So we have got a very overwhelming response from you. We have had more than 600 registrations, and I can see more than 250 people online right now. And we have got hundreds of questions, and we have all assimilated it together to make sure that we are able to answer most of your questions. And in case we miss anything, please feel free to write to us. Our entire team at IFA is extremely keen to help you in this difficult situation. So today, I am going to discuss on one of the very interesting subjects on FX and how it's going to impact on your business, some interesting strategies thereon. And lastly, I would like to thank my entire team members who have really worked hard in the last 5 days to get this webinar on. A big round of applause for all of you and all of them. So let us begin with the seminar. And I promise you in the next 45 minutes, I am going to give you some very interesting takeaways, which is going to help you to decide important decisions of your business. Great. I hope everybody can see the presentation. Just say yes, 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 so we come to know. Superb. And the voice is crystal clear? Just say we yes, so we know that the voice is clear. Superb. I think the audience is very, very energetic and they have been writing superb. My dear friends, so let's make this session very, very interactive. We have lots of time. We have to learn from each other. And in case there is something which I miss or you have some solution, please put it across in the chat. Let others learn from your experiences, because I'm sure there are so many entrepreneurs, CFOs, treasurers who are tuned over here. They have so much of knowledge. We can all learn from them. So please put across, use this chat very effectively, and let's make this session extremely interactive. Sure. So the broad structure of the presentation. On the first half, we're going to talk about the broad micros. It's very important today. The view on the major currencies. And post that, we're going to discuss on your challenges, what export-import companies are currently facing, and if there is some kind of solutions that we can take from today's session. There are some very extreme good opportunities in the market we have seen, and we should make use of them. And finally, RBI has been very, very active these days, and have been coming up with interesting circulars which is going to impact your business sooner or later. And a lot of these circulars will be applicable from June. So stay tuned. So before we move forward, let me take a quick poll to understand what kind of exposures all of you have. I hope everybody can see the poll. You can scroll down and you can put in your votes so that we exactly know that what kind of exposure the room has, and we can focus our discussion on this. Please be very active, and as soon as you poll, just write why, so we know that you are able to see the poll and we are moving perfectly. So we got 150 votes, 285 people logged in. Very nice. 30 seconds more. Yeah. Lots of Ys coming. This is a very, very energetic room, I would say. Appreciate the kind of participation all of you people are having. Let's learn from each other. Once again, I say, let's make it a very, very interactive session today. My dear friends, we got 182 votes. We'll wait for another 5 minutes, another 10 seconds. Yeah, we can just put the votes over there. I mean, that will help. So most of the people are having exposure in the US dollar. I can see out there. Super. 300 people logged in. The more the people, the more the votes, the better the solutions we can get today. Close to 115 people have got USD and other currencies, and close to 96 people out of 300 have got only dollars. Lovely, lovely. These are very interesting times, and I think we can add a lot of interesting facts today, which probably you can take back home. Very nice. Very nice. Very nice. We have 304 people logged in now. We'll take another 10 seconds. So I'm ending the votes because time is short, probably. I hope you can view the results. Most of the people have exposure in dollars and currencies, other currencies. And the entire group seems to have exposure in some other currencies. Superb, superb. We move back to the presentation. So since we know that a lot of people have various currencies, we're going to show you first with the US dollar, because I understand most of you people have definitely a lot of exposure in US dollar. Please look at this chart very, very carefully. This gives you the history of dollar over the last 15 years. This will open up your eyes. It'll try you to think a little big, try to think long term, and give you some perspective. If you can throw some points as in what you see, that will be very useful. Just put in some points over there. I hope my voice is clear. Just say yes. Yeah. Yeah. So just have a look. Look at the red lines over here, the big steep depreciations, the yellow lines over here. What do we observe? Any thoughts that you have? You can put it across. Any observations? Just put a two-liner, one-liner. USD has been extremely steep depreciation, aggressive towards 28% increase dollar can happen. There's some of the movements the rupee has depreciated a lot. Yeah, some people are saying it's going to reach 80. We'll come to that. 6% decrease before major movement. That's interesting. Some more for depreciation. After every 3 years, there's a sharp uptrend. Great. Correction is going to happen soon. My friends, this is market. When you see a chart, you have different versions. And today, this is the market. We are almost 320 people logged in, and everybody has their own thoughts on this chart. Let me show you what I feel. We did some backtesting from Bloomberg, and we saw that rupee normally stays in the range of 5 to 6%. And when rupee actually breaks this range, the depreciation is very, very vast. Now, you could see the rupee for a very long time was in this range. When it broke, the depreciation was pretty fast. Then again, we saw it was in this range. It broke, the depreciation was fast. Again over here. So if you measure this 6% from now, you actually get a number from 70.80 to 75 levels. We feel that possibly there is a high probability that we have entered into a super depreciation phase. Some of our clients who are in touch with us, they know that from 73.5, 74, we have been calling this because this is what data tells us that possibly we have entered that kind of phase. Let's move forward. This is a very, very interesting piece of data. Please focus. 2007, 2013, 2018, 2020. What do we see from this data? In 83 days in 2013, we saw a 28% depreciation. So in almost 3 to 4 months' time, I'm talking about the working days, we have seen this kind of depreciation. Are we not into a very uncertain environment right now? Does the money does not go in US dollar in uncertain environments? Look at the walls. Walls is nothing but which checks the volatility of the currency. The walls have shot up to 11%. 6 months back, the walls was around 3.5%, 4%. It also tells you that possibly you are going to see a steeper depreciation going forward. I hope everybody can hear me. Just write why. Yeah. Some people can't hear. Probably just make sure your internet connection is fine. Great. FX reserves are comfortable. Last year, $50 billion worth of ECBs were raised, because of which we had increased our foreign exchange reserves. But surprisingly, the non-derivable forward market, the market which gets operated in the US, Dubai, Hong Kong, Singapore, the NDF markets, the dollar rupee is quoting higher, and at 125 paisa worst we have seen, and for a very, very long time. So basically we see that we have just 57 days which has passed. So still to tell that the depreciation is over, I think it's a little too early. My dear friends, these are some of the very important indicators that we at IFA track in our techno fundamental model, which is based on statistics and solid research. Some of the factors that we have put it across, these are simple factors. There are 36 factors that we track. We have put across 10, which has a lot of weightage. Look at these factors. You can yourself analyze that 8 out of 10 factors are pointing towards more weakness in the currencies. Onshore-offshore spreads, the Nifty is continuously down. We are seeing dollar strength overseas. The good part is oil is coming down. But the point is, what is the benefit? Everything is closed down. Yesterday oil went to negative. And today, again, we saw rupee depreciating more. In fact, it closed to all-time high in terms of the US dollar strength today. My dear friends, some of you sent me emails talking about what will be the situation of the current account deficit. In a normal situation, you would have seen a number like this if nothing would have happened and coronavirus would not have been there. Your exports minus imports, the trade deficit would become something around this. Your services exports would be around 80. Your primary income, that is the outflows which goes in form of dividends, would be around 25 billion. NRI inflows would have been always rampant in India. Net, your FDI flows around 2.5, 3 billion plus your ECBs, which we raised, plus the FPI situation would not have been so bad right now what we are seeing. So we would have still landed up adding $3 billion in our reserves, which is nothing but 60 minus 57. Because we know whatever deficit we have in the current account, because of our net importing situation, we fund it to our capital account. We estimate, of course, nobody can predict the future, but we estimate close to the deficit is definitely going to come down because $35 billion worth of dollars is going to be reduced because of oil. Services is going to definitely reduce, assuming that the dividends don't reduce much. Remittances from NRI is definitely going to come down because of the oil coming down. Obviously, the Arab countries take a hit. And in the case of FDI, I don't think we're going to receive a lot of FDI. In the ECB front, probably not much interest is going to be there. We already raised a lot last year. Even if we get $27, $28 billion in terms of FDI, possibly that money is going to go out of FPI. So broadly, I feel we are going to deplete $20, $25 billion out of our reserves. Having said that, possibly if RBI is going to intervene more massively by selling dollars because they have to protect the rupee movement, then in that case, we could see this further going down. So broadly, not much additions to the reserves. Possibly we could see some outflow in the reserves. My dear friends, we already saw the bloodbath in March. Close to 120 went out. 1,20,000 crores, 60,000 debt, 60,000 equity. My friends, one very important point that we have to understand. When we see outflows in the market, we actually see outflows both in debt, equity, and corporate bonds. Corporate bonds limit is already pretty down. It's around 20%. In the case of debt, it's close to 40-odd%. In case of equity, we have a 40% free float, which is around 29,50,000 crores, out of which 60,000 crores have gone, say 2.5%. I'm afraid if things don't come out so well, if we are going to have liquidity shortage and the foreigners have to sell, in that case, we could see 4-5% selling off in the equities, and that is going to be tricky. And that is something that we have to be very, very careful going ahead. Whenever I have to make a view, I make a view writing down my positive and negative points. Have a glance for 10 seconds. A lot of discussion is happening in the market on why the government is not spending. The entire world is calling for a 5 to 6 lakh crores worth of spending by the government to print money. Have you ever thought why the government is not printing? My dear friends, we were having a deficit state plus center together around 9%. Before COVID, we were already very stretched. Now, our GST collection is going to go down. We will not be able to divest what we had thought. At the same time, we will have an extra burden of providing and spending for the poor and for everyone. We are seeing RBI getting extremely active in terms of providing liquidity in the market for corporates, for NBFCs, for everyone. Why are they not spending? Because they know that they spend around $7-8 lakh if they monetize the deficit. There is a risk of a rating downgrade. The rating agencies are not going to take it very positively. And that's one concern. And slowly and steadily, they are trying to spend money, not aggressively. Globally, equities are still in mayhem. I don't think we are out of the woods. Offshore spreads, as I just showed, are all-time high, though it has come down lately. Broad US dollar strength is already there. These are some of the negatives for the rupee. The good part is oil prices is down. Brent is close to around $20 even today. Even though we average at around $20, net we save around $35 billion because every $10 annually we save around $12 billion. Very interesting, and you should know this, that a lot of lobbying is happening in terms of liberalization in debt and equity. There is a Bloomberg Barclays index for the debt. There's a JP Morgan index. We want to list ourselves there. At the same time, for the equities, in the emerging market MSCI index, we want to increase our weight. That will give us close to around $16 odd billion. And that's one reason, my dear friends, that's one reason why at now you are seeing increased trading hours in dollar rupee. You are seeing the exotic derivatives getting introduced. You are seeing exchange volumes more relaxed. These are all tick marks. Because if the government wants for people to participate and get ourselves listed and get the money from outside, which is probably a very, and I would say an only option right now, they need to do these relaxations now. And the world is waiting. FX reserves are comfortable. And the good volumes, that good monsoons that we are pretty soon, and possibly we have hope that possibly China, a lot of business from China is going to come to India, and possibly some FDI money could come. My dear friends, I don't want to make it a monologue. Let's have another poll. Let's see what you feel that broadly, how have the dollar got strong in the previous crisis? This will also tell us, because we cannot predict the future, we can only learn from the past. Let us do another poll. I hope everybody can see the poll. We'll finish the poll in 30 seconds. Please put in your points. I hope everybody can see the poll. Just write why, so I know everybody can see. Superb, superb. "15 seconds more. We have seen almost 190 people participating. Very nice. I really like the way the entire audience is engaged, giving their thoughts. I'm not able to answer all the questions that you have keep putting right now, but probably we'll take it one-on-one after this session. We got close to 333 people online from across 40 cities across the country and almost 47 industries spread over. My dear friends, you can poll in there instead of writing on the chat box so that everybody knows what the world is thinking. We'll take 5 seconds more. Awesome. 220 votes. Another 5 seconds and we will end the poll. This is lovely. Most of the people felt that around 5 to 15% is what the global dollar got strong during these crises. And close to 30% felt that within 15 to 25%, 33% of the people felt within 5 to 15%. And around 3% of the people felt it's less than 5%. And above 25% was close to 6%. My dear friends, let's see the actual results. A lot of you people are very close. This is the result. I hope everybody can see this. Just write Y, so we know we are back to the presentation. Superb. My dear friends, I don't have to say anything. These are uncertain times. We have to learn from history. If we have seen 20-25% broad appreciation, and these are year-on-year numbers, that doesn't mean that the markets actually didn't appreciate 30% or 35%. These are closing numbers. So there will be times when the market is going to get very, very strong or weak. We don't know. But be ready for a lot of irrational movements in the market. I'll move forward. Rupee is broadly in the middle of the pack. Why do you think there are other currencies like Mexican peso, Brazilian real, Indonesian rupiah have taken a bigger hit? Any thoughts? Please write it on the chat. Quickly, 5 seconds. I hope I am audible. Yeah, they are dependent on commodities. These are commodity-driven currencies. If the commodities fall, these currencies take a major hit. Equity markets. I don't need to tell you how equity markets perform or have performed. A lot of you people have investments there. They track it more closely than me. Equities have not been performing very well. We have been extreme underperformers. And as I said, the only fear I have is that 40% of our equity is free float. That is close to around 29,50,000 crores. And only 2.5% selling has happened. What if we see further selling happening from the equity markets? Possibly that could for more money to come from Indian markets. A lot of my clients ask for this slide on a daily basis, on a monthly basis. They want to know how rupee performs month on month, year on year. This is the data from 2010 to 2020, last 10 years, month on month data. The green bars are basically the bars where the rupee depreciates. The red bars are the bars where the rupee appreciates. What do you conclude from this? Can you see a trend? My dear friends, you can answer in the chat box so that we all can learn from each other. Your thoughts are important to us. Your observations are important to us. We might not be in the classroom, but let's make it a form of a real classroom by all your interactions. May is historically a depreciating month. My dear friend, nobody got a magic wand. Nobody can predict the future. But we can learn from the past that 9 out of 10 years the rupee depreciated. Can someone tell me why 2014 was an appreciating month for the rupee? I'm sure I'm going to get that answer quickly. NAMO. That's right. Modi government got elected, and that's the reason it was the only month the rupee got strong. But broadly, the rupee has been weak in May. We are sitting in April. If you have import payments or if you have export cancellations, this can give us some clues about what has to be done. Right. May and November have been depreciating months. Very nice. Very good observation. Somebody writes, Moody's factor put down the economy. Interesting. No discussion can be finished without discussing the kind of printing that gets done now across the world. $2.6 trillion of printing. Just to give you an idea, in 2008 crisis, they used to print $40 billion. USA used to print $40 billion every month. Now they are printing $40 billion every day. All the other economies are also printing the same. My question to you is, can India also print the way they are printing? Write yes or no on the chat box. Why no? Why no? Somebody says it will result in inflation based on gold reserves. Government cannot print currency. My dear friends, you are right. As a country, we are not USA. US dollar is a reserve currency. They can print as much as they want. People will still hold in the reserves because they have bad memories of 1997 Asian crisis. In India, if we increase our fiscal deficit, if we start monetizing our debt, the rating agencies will downgrade us. There will be high inflation and nobody is going to invest in your debt. India's debt gets bought by the world. US debt gets bought by the world. India's debt attracts more of local buyers and the banks are stuffed with Government of India bonds. So, my friends, Indian government has just done 0.75% of GDP. They're going to take baby steps because they do not want the currency to depreciate a lot. One short poll again. I showed you some data, some hard facts, some research. Now I want to know what's your view. You are the market. I can see 333 attendees over here. You are the market. You buy and sell currencies. You tell me, where is the rupee going? My dear friends, this is the most important vote. 70% of the people who are sitting there wants to know this. Please tell me, where do you think the market is going? You are the market. You will decide where the rupee is going. 336 people voting. Please do not miss this vote. This is very, very important for us to know. I'm getting some very interesting answers and I'm waiting for the entire votes, and we will wait some time for this vote to complete because I want to have vote from all the 330 people who are logged in. This is very, very important for all of us. And there's a lot of excitement by people. My dear friends, we can just vote. I have shown you some data. You have your own research. You talk to your friends in the export-import community. What do you feel? You talk to your buyers outside. You are all very well traveled. What do you feel? You have data in your fingertips. You are the person who calls the banks and book the dollars. You will decide where the rupee is going to go. I think this is a lovely poll. We have 253 people who have voted. We'll wait for 10 more seconds. Great. I'm going to end this vote with the answers. We have 253 people voted out of 332 people who are online. 38% of the people feel that rupee is going to be depreciating. I'll share the results with you. 38% of the people feel that rupee is going to be in the range of 78 to 55 in the next 78 to 85. I'm sorry, in the next 6 months. 31% feels that it's going to be in the range of 74, 78. And on 1% of the people still feel that it's possible to go above 85. And below 74, around 8% of the people feel. That's interesting. Thank you so much for your votes. We'll continue with the presentation. As I said, we put in 36 factors. We do a lot of backtesting. We do a lot of data crunching. And this is a techno-fundamental model. Some of our clients would know that, which continuously changes based on walls, based on real hard data, and a lot of backtesting and statistics being used. This is our probability, which I feel our data feels that could possibly happen in the next 3 months, 6 months, and 12 months. My dear friends, if tomorrow coronavirus case comes to be 0 in India, these numbers are going to change because the data points are going to get changed. If the NDF market spreads become 0, the data is going to get changed. If dollar gets very, very weak globally because of some big reason, or oil comes to $50, obviously if it comes to $50, rupee is going to depreciate. But if there is some revisions, we will do our revisions. But broadly, as of today, this is what we feel is the possibility of the dollar rupee going forward. I would like to insist that do not take these numbers by heart. Some of you will have different numbers in mind. But what wins is the right risk management, understanding your exposure, managing it professionally is what is going to take you and make you successful in the long run. Some people had exposures in euro. We're not going to spend a lot of time, but broadly, we feel that euro was in a very bad shape even before COVID-19. And now also, if they are going to stop the accommodative policy, still US is going to be benefiting more and faster than the euro. The broad trend of euro is still down. And if you have exposures in euro, probably you can sell on rallies in terms of euro dollar exposure. Some people have exposures in pound sterling. This has given sleepless nights to people in the last 2 years, 3 years, just after the Brexit. And I think pound is still weak. They have a lot of issues across them, and possibly they will not be able to come up with a negotiation before 31st December. Broadly, 27, 28, 1.2728 is a broad resistance. But as IMF has said, possibly they could have a very, very strong recession going forward. So, my dear friends, pound is a sell. In case you get rallies, please sell. And in the INR, we are writing the levels of 90 to 100 because you might think that it's a broad range of 10%. But we are talking about volatility. Volatility in two currencies. Dollar rupee, which itself I just showed you the world's at 11%, and the international currencies, which can move anywhere between 15-20% we have seen in 2008. So a number of 10% is anybody's guess. But broadly, I think, and one more important point I want to mention. Please understand USD INR and Euro dollar, they may lose the correlations. And you might see both currencies moving in one side. Some people who have been tracking foreign currencies in the past know this. And it can happen that in 15-20 days, you can see 5 rupees, 7 rupees, 10 rupees movement when you quote it in terms of INR. So be very careful when you talk about global currencies. That's the broad trend of GBP. We love Chinese imports. Everybody wants to know we have payments in China, what to do. I think looking at the current scenario, the Chinese yuan is going to be slightly strong as compared to the INR. Good for our exports, not good for our imports. But broadly, we feel that the economy is going through a tough time in China, but Indian exporters are going to get more when they export to China going forward. My dear friends, can you see the presentation? Can you hear my voice? I can see some people writing that they cannot see. Superb. That's the broad trend. Challenges and solutions. Now, this is a very, very important part. I'm sure everybody has been waiting for the last 30 minutes to understand that what is the solutions of the exporters and importers who are badly stuck in the current situation. My dear friends, I know it's nobody's fault. Whenever you had booked the forward contract, you had booked the forward contract on the basis of your exposures. You did not speculate. You had your costing defined, and as per your risk management policy, conservatively you took and booked dollars. But we are living in very difficult times. A lot of orders have got cancelled. A lot of shipments have not been able to happen. A lot of buyers are asking for discounts. Unfortunately, there are few things that you can do. There has been no relaxations in terms of force majeure or from RBI. We have been personally talking to so many associations in the country who are lobbying with the FedI and the RBI to take this across for our exporter friends so that we can get some relief. We have discussed with so many bankers. We have tried to help our clients, but the only solutions that we get right now are three. One is, if you feel that the rupee is depreciating and you will not be able to perform, you will not be able to deliver dollars, cancel those contracts. If you have a view that rupee is going to appreciate, you can wait, but then you should have a stop loss. Because if it keeps depreciating and you don't have dollars to deliver, you could have more losses. You did not earn anything, but you will have losses. Second, if you feel that your orders have only been delayed and you will get your dollars, you will be able to ship, then in that case, you can still take the loss. You can rebook for a 1-year maturity or a 6-8 months maturity as per your comfort and as per your underlying. If you don't want to do that and you feel that the rupee is going to depreciate further, if you have a view of 80, but at the same time you are confused that rupee could possibly come to 73, what you can do is you can buy an option. You can buy a put option. You can cancel your contracts and you can buy a put option, pay the premium, and if the rupee turns back lower, you can possibly benefit it. But mind it, put options are expensive right now and it has to make sense. If your cancellation happens at 80, definitely it makes sense. But at 75, I don't suggest you cancel and take a put option. Third is, if you have limits with your bank, you can go in for a packing credit in US dollar. Or you can ask for a foreign currency term loan. But again, It's case to case. You need to have limits with your banks. If your banks can support you, that is a third option. But mind it, you should have dollars to deliver, because taking a packing credit is also a liability. Some of my friends are also having issues in terms of funds not getting if the bill is discounting. Ask for an extension. RBI has provided some moratorium. But in case you are not able to avail that, my dear friends, you should know that it will lead to crystallization and INR interest would be applicable from retrospective effect. So if you are buying, say, at 76 levels, I mean, in case the situation is that they have to crystallize at 76, it means you have to buy dollars at 76 and then pay INR penal interest on it. So in case you have any issues with regards to this, you can connect with us. We can help you with the calculations. My team can help you with the calculations. These are difficult times. We will be happy to help you. One thing a lot of companies are also having problems is their packing credit limit is, say, 1,000 crores. They have a 2,000 crore business. 1,000 crore was their packing credit limit. Now, 1,000 crore was when the rupee was 72. If the rupee goes to 76, your limit is still 1,000 crore, but your limit in terms of US dollar have drastically come down to the extent the rupee has depreciated from 70 to 76. My dear friends, in that is the situation, and if your banker is very comfortable with you, you can ask them to give you the comfort. We have done this in the past with some of our textile clients, and they could give you some comfort if you have receivables. But you should understand what I'm trying to say, so that when you're talking, you should make sense to the banker. If you have a PCFC which is due, you can extend that PCFC for another 180 days. So 180 plus 180 days, 360 days is what you can typically do. My banker is saying that my LER limit has been breached. My dear friends, 70% of the people do not know what LER limits are. Time and again, we have seen with our clients in 2013, 2018, that if there is a huge movement in the rupee, people do not do a stress test. People do not think that rupee can move more than 4, 5, 6%. We just saw in 2008, 2013, 2018, we saw such big moves in the rupee. LER limit is a loan equivalent risk the banks have to provide for. And if the rupee depreciates a lot, these LER limits gets breached. Means the banker tells you that your risk in your book is increasing, bring in the collaterals. It has all right to do that. In case you have not checked this, please go back home. If you are a CFA, look at the term sheet. If you're an entrepreneur, discuss with your CFOs. This is very important. Or ask to your banks that am I comfortable if the rupee goes to 82? Get this thing okay. Otherwise, you have to reduce your positions. Do not start booking more dollars thinking there is not another day. Keep this in check. People want to know what is my budgeting rate. I think 75, 76 should be safe. My dear friends, this is a very important slide. Still, a lot of people want to know what they do to borrow in dollars or INR. Before COVID-19 and sometime before, you used to have subventions. You used to borrow, say it's a US dollar, you used to borrow at 1.10. The spread was close to 1.5. Your net cost was land up around 2.6%. These are tentative numbers. Of course, it will change from company to company based on their credit rating. In terms of INR, after subvention, and if you are borrowing in INR, you can sell the forward. So your cost was 1.5%. What was cheaper? Can you write on the chat box what was cheaper earlier? Can take 5 seconds. This is a very important slide. Superb. INR was cheaper earlier. Now subvention is gone. The spread has gone up. The LIBOR has come down. The borrowing rate in US dollar has increased. Now what is more cheaper? My dear friends, this is a very important slide. What is more cheaper? I can see some of my clients writing over there. Of course, they know the answers because they have been continuously taking some interesting advice from us. Yes, it's the packing credit in foreign currency which is more cheaper. But one important thing that you have to note, time and again there will be situations when there will be dollar shortages, and that is a time when you may not be able to get packing credit. Even if you are able to save 1%, and if your borrowing is 500 crores in a year, how much do you save? 5 crores. And this is an annuity saving. The calculations have changed. So you need to be sure and review this every 15 days to see what has changed. My dear friends, I got lots of queries asking me that what should I do? Should I start booking the forward contract? Should I book for next year? I also got messages which said, should I book for 2 years? Before starting booking the forward contracts, my friends, you have to first see that what is your exposure. Normally, people consider only a forward contract as their exposure. In 2018, and some of the people who are listening to me now had got badly stuck because they did not realize that packing credit in foreign currency and your bill discounting is also a liability. You have to start paying US dollar, whatever money that you get from outside. That will go in first retiring this. So this is also an exposure. So if you have 100 million and you are covered 50 million, you are not covered 50%. You are actually covered 75%. Have your business decreased? Most of our businesses have decreased. Am I right? Especially in garments, textile. We have close to 30% of our business and our clients in the textile business. So we know that. If your exposure has decreased, you are covered 125%. Before even start booking another single dollar, take out a pen and paper, take out all your liabilities and put this. This is very simple. And if this number is anywhere close to 50, you need to be very, very careful because this is not in your hand. Am I right? Do you agree with me? Just write yes. Is your business right now in your hand? It is not. So, with regards to making money in foreign exchange markets, we have to be very, very careful right now. Additionally, if you really want to take a bet, say a rupee comes to 80 and you said, okay, I want to take a bet. Things are not going to end. The world is not going to end. Take it through put options. Pay premium. You don't have any obligation to deliver. Even if rupee goes to 90, you are fine. You sell your dollars at the market. But do not increase forwards until and unless you are sure that you are getting business and you are proportionately hedged. This is the way you should be maintaining your MIS sheet. We do this for our clients, very systematic way, connected live with the market rates. You get an MIS on a daily basis, understanding what and where are you placed, how are you placed, what you need to do. A stress test. If the rupee goes to 85, what do you do? Rupee goes to 74, what do you do? These are the questions you need to know within 30-40 seconds in the morning. This is what we help, and possibly you can connect with our people in case you want something like this. These are some of the MIS templates. I am not going to explain you what options are. I'm just going to open your eyes with a new concept if people have not used. My friends, in this time, if you don't know options, please learn it. You can make so much of money and use a lot of opportunity just by buying options, not selling options. Before we move forward in options, I'm going to take a quick survey. I want to know how many people understand options. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this, but a quick survey from your side, how many people understand options? People who do not understand options don't have to be concerned. Don't think it's a waste of your time. Don't think that I should log out. I'm going to tell you something in 30 seconds, which is going to be very, very simple. And that's one learning you should take back home, discuss with your banks, discuss with your CFO, and understand. You don't have to do it, but understand. This is going to be very, very useful. Some of my clients have been doing options, and a lot of them are actually listening today. Is there any client who have done the options in the past, put options and made money? They can write why. Some of my clients who have done in the past, yes, see, I can see people who have done and made money, a lot of whys coming. Both in case of imports and exporters, people have made money in terms of options. I am not talking about the exotic derivatives which happened in 2008, but I'm talking about simple derivatives where you just buy put options and you can make money. Yes, we can take options both for short and long term. We will close this survey. We can see 48% people have never used, but always these are the times we have a lot of time. You should learn about options. And of course, I'm going to show you something very, very simple. If the levels are close to 75, do you really want to sell dollars for 1 year? Do you feel you will be comfortable for the entire 1 year, even if you get a premium of 3 rupees? Is it not risky? Why don't you take some put options over here? And as you move up the ladder, you can start increasing your forwards. My friends, if tomorrow rupee is going to go in next, say, 1 month, say 80, I can guarantee most of the people will not have a courage to go and sell forwards because they would have been selling forwards at 76, 77, 78, and finally they would be choked with their forward positions. Their LER limits would be blocked. They will have mark-to-market issues. And above all, there will be an immense sense of fear because all the news channels will be shouting about 90. That's the time, if you want to book your dollars for next year, you could possibly go in for an option. But if you have limits, then you can go in for a forward as you start moving up the ladder. What kind of options to take, when to take, short-term, long-term, pricing of the options, negotiation with the bankers, what is the wall curve looking at? These are technical factors. You can always get back to us and we can help you with this. But the point I want to make across right now is options are interesting and useful instruments if done in a wise form. Do not go overweight. You are paying premiums. You are not gambling. And you can make a lot of money in uncertain times using options. This is just some basic calculations that we have shared over here. Of course, this will change from industry into industry. Some positions will also be kept open, but this is an example. I'll take 10 seconds This option was done in September for one of our clients. It's a real term sheet. When the rupee was going at around 74, nobody wanted to sell dollars at 2018. We asked our clients to take put options. They paid a premium of 2 rupees for entire 1 year. And next month, the rupee went back to 68. They did a $50 million contract, earned 4 rupees out of it, 20 crores in the kitty. They cancelled these options. This is what is options. And even if it had gone to 85, they would have got still 83 after 1 year. This is the beauty of options. Quickly for the importers, people who have not hedged, please use any dips to cover your imports or hedge through options. Some people are having problems in terms of payment of LCs. They can ask for an extension, provided the buyer agrees. They can send SWIFT through their interbanks and get the permission. Of course, interest rate would be levied. Or else, a lot of banks are giving this relaxation under which if you have a non-fund based limit and you don't want the LC to be devolved, they can convert it into fund-based limit to charge you a CC or OD interest. These are two main solutions. If you have any other solutions, please put it on the chat box. Let people learn from you. This is a community. This is a time we can all help each other. Please put it on the chat box. Let people learn if you have any other solutions for import payments. Currency futures is a very interesting proposition. The hours of trading has been reduced. Earlier, the hours had been increased from 5 o'clock. But currency futures are giving such big opportunities. Please, I will give you some examples of currency futures later. But regards to importers, how you should hedge. At lower levels, it's just the reverse. Go more for forwards. At higher levels, you don't want to get stuck paying premium for 6 months. You go in for an option. You take a call spread or a Seagull option over there. Of course, some combinations. These are some of the relaxations, 10-15%. I'm sure a lot of you have already availed this from your banks. MNC banks are taking time. Some of the private sectors have also not approved, but broadly the PSU sector have approved. Am I right? Please put in why, if it is 10-15% is what you have got. Superb. Some people are saying buyer's credit, supplier's credit is also a good option for importers. MNCs are talking about reduction. I know this do happen. Ultimately, the PSU banks are the banks who help us in the bad times. Yes, I know Kotak is not giving right now. We have also heard it from our clients. They are taking time. They are taking time. Yes. ICICI is giving. Yes. My dear friends, this is a very important point. Please go through the chat box. People are, PNB is giving, bank discretion, SBI giving, SCB not giving, Yes Bank not giving, Kotak is conservative. Superb. This is the power of the community. This is the power of community. We have a very strong treasury elite community. A lot of treasurers are also connected through this. This is the power of the treasury community. They can educate you as in what has to be done and when has to be done. Allahabad Bank is giving, SBI is giving. Superb. Superb. DCB is giving. DBS is taking time. Bank of India is giving. Citibank is not giving. So I see a lot of MNCs are not giving. In fact, they're asking to reduce your packing credit limits. Canara is not giving. Anybody knows about HDFC? I heard HDFC is giving in selective cases. So we'll move forward. Factoring and receivable financing is also an option. And as I said, moratorium for bill discounting is there. Please get your short-term lines even if it is at higher cost. If things don't get relaxed, the money that you have in your bank account is going to help you because there's a huge cash flow issue across markets. You know it better than me. A lot of our clients made a killing on 27th March when there was a difference between the OTC market and the exchange market by 80 paisa. Some of the clients who have futures exposure and OTC exposure, they made close to 60 to 80 paisa. For one of the clients, we did close to around $20 million and around 1.6 crores was netted in the next 2 days. These are the opportunities which will come in the time, and in these difficult times, you should not be missing these opportunities. Stay tuned with us. We will help you capture that. There was obviously a huge difference between the DGCX and the MCX over here. Of course, a lot of companies cannot use it because you have to be on the right side of the law also to do it. But just for educational purposes, this was a situation which was developed. There was a 1 rupee 25 paisa difference also. Some of the clients who have taken dollar borrowings, if the interest rates are not unhedged, if not hedged, possibly the spreads have come down in terms of IRS. You can start looking slowly. I'm not saying at one shot, slowly, because the spreads of IRS has come down. You can convert your floating rate loans into fixed rate loans through hedging your IRS. And lastly, the RBI regulations. RBI has been very active, as I said, because they want us to get listed in the MSCI bond index, also the bond index, the Bloomberg Barclays, and the JP Morgan bond index. The rest is self-explanatory, but I want to focus that the past performance limit that exporters used to have, they used to book dollars based on that. It was last 3 years turnover or last year turnover, whichever was higher. Now is on the owners of the banks. They will decide your anticipated exposure. And accordingly, you have to provide underlying. In case you are not able to provide underlying, the gains may not be passed to you. Please discuss this with your banks. The final clarification will come after June with discussion with FDI and RBI, but you have to be ready for this. Tenure has been increased for your export realizations. And lastly, dealing with banks is getting more and more transparent. They need to give you a stamp rates and give you a mid-walls rate if you're doing options. And also a CCIL platform, you can ask your banks, you can do that. And exotic derivatives have again come post June, you should be able to do. But my word of cautions, derivatives options, please consult before entering into any option. And if you're selling options, it entails unlimited risk. So please discuss with your advisor before you enter into these options. To conclude, my quick takeaways to you is dollar strength is still there. Be careful. Understand your exposure. Be ready for both sides volatility. Tomorrow, if rupee comes down at 73, don't start getting complacent. We are here for a long haul. If it comes down, use that opportunity. Convert your loans from floating to fixed in terms of interest. And my experience over the last 16 years of advising companies, if you manage your FX efficiently, you can at least save 8 to 10% of your bottom line or more. We don't realize in terms of bank charges, in terms of strategy, in terms of various opportunities. Please take FX very seriously. We are here to help you. You can see our numbers below. You can take a note of it. There's a website. Connect with us. And with this, I will put this to Radhika. She can open it for questions. We can take some questions going forward. Radhika, over to you. Please put in your questions.
That was a great session. Now we'll move forward to a question and answer session. I request everyone to please put up your question in the chat box and Mr. Goenka will try to address them.
You can put in your question and select a question mark.
There's an option question, ask question on the chat box. You can please share your question over there. I can see a lot of questions are coming.
Which option to take totally depends on the walls, the tenure of your exposure, and the cost that you end up paying while taking option. Normally, we have seen long-term options to be more cheaper. You get more time. And wherever we have done options for exporters, we have normally entered into long-term options until unless he has no comfort in going in the banks and he has to do it in the exchange, because exchanges do not give shorter term options, do not give longer term options. They're only 1 or 2 months option. But for an importer, shorter term options make sense because he typically do not go for a 1-year hedging. RBI has been selling dollars sooner or later in small tranches. My dear friends, please understand that RBI would not be comfortable intervening in the market if he sees that it is swimming against the tide. On a day of RBI policy, you saw 1 rupee movement in the rupee from 76 to 75 all the way to 74 half in knee-jerk reaction because the dollar also became weak internationally. At the same time, there were extreme thin liquidity in the market. So if you were selling $10 million, what I come to know from my corporate friends who are running large treasuries, $10-20 million, you could move the market by 10 paisa. So RBI would only come and intervene when it feels that it is swimming as per the overall market. But it has to be very careful that if they deplete a lot of their reserves, their import coverage ratio is going to come down and it will not be very, very comfortable when it comes to the foreign portfolio investors and the people who seek to invest in India. Today, if the rupee has not depreciated so much, only because we have got very, very comfortable reserves. Lots of questions are coming and it's getting jammed.
So I guess we are running short of time.
Yeah. We will take 2 more questions, Radhika.
Okay, sure.
So, it is a very, very relevant question. And we need to understand this. My dear friends, when somebody buys US dollar bonds, it is a global market which is buying the US dollar bonds. But when somebody buys Indian bonds, it's a very, very small section of people who actually buy that. A large part is also bought by the banks and institutions and the PF funds. The question that we have to ask ourselves is that, are these institutions having that much of capability to subscribe to these bonds? If not, then inflation will go up, the bond yields will go up, and the foreign institutional investors will also take a back seat. And then rupee will depreciate. So they have to take very strong, very small baby steps before they start printing currency. What do you think? They are all smart economists sitting out there, but they are not able to do it because they are scared about increasing inflation, increasing bond yields, and if the bond yields increase, it is going to be detrimental for all of you in terms of increasing cost of borrowing for your businesses. We'll take
this one last question as we're running short of time. Yes, this one.
Everybody asked that why is the dollar not reacting because the crude prices are down. June contracts are still at $20. Yesterday, what we saw was because of shortage in US to keep the oil. Everybody had to cut the contracts in panic, and then the market price closed minus 40 in negative. I understand your question is perfect, and the answer should be yes. The dollar should react, the rupee should come. Under normal times, yes, that could have been the situation. But today, when there is no consumption, and when today there is huge outflows from the equity markets, debt markets, even if we are saving $35 billion out of the crude, are we not seeing outflows of 120,000 crores in terms of debt and equity? Are we not scared about ECBs getting paid at higher levels, even though they're $10-15 billion? These are the problems. Are we not getting margin calls in international markets so people are selling in India? And that is the reason, even though crude is down, we are not seeing a reaction in the US dollar. Plus, there are a lot of talks in terms of storing oil reserves. How many of you have checked that how much is the capacity of the government of India to store the crude reserves? It is 7 days, and they are increasing it to 9 days. That is all. The extent of 37 million barrels they have, and possibly they can increase it to 74 million barrels. And that is the reason the markets are not reacting. And above all, markets tell you something. If despite oil prices going down, rupee has depreciated today, it is telling you something. Let's learn from the markets. Let's understand what communication it is giving us. We'll take the last question. There is no definite answer for this question. Our clients, we have been aggressively booking. Some of them are hearing here. We do not want to keep a lot of import positions open. We are not very sure that do we get a 73 or not. But any dips of imports, we would like to keep it covered either through options where we buy calls and sell puts to reduce our premium costs, or we do plain vanilla forwards if we could get lower levels. But we are not much supporting open positions in import. These are uncertain times. Markets could become irrational, and we don't want to be on the wrong side of the US dollar. That's all. Thank you so much. And I 1 minute.
Thank you so much.
1 minute, Radhika. Thank you so much.
Yes.
I wish you all the very best. All your friends, families, office workers, factory workers, distant relatives. May God bless you all. Be safe, be healthy, and namaskar.